Hey, folks, it's Trey, Tattoo Squid Podcast. That's the podcast that I do. And welcome to yet another episode. We are here, not we. Well, I say that because, well, I saw a movie on Saturday with family, and we are watching If, called Imaginary Friends. Uh, Great movie. Love it. It's like everything funny about, got every known imaginary friend that you could think of or any child can think of. But it made me think, like, what are imaginary friends? How do we, when we're kids? I mean, we did have when we were kids. Me, I don't think I ever had them. You know, I don't think, but I always played outside and imagined that I was like the Dukes of Hazzard. I was firefighter or some kind of warrior, whatever. Yeah. But there is children that do have um, things where they see somebody or something and it's like their friend that they don't have in real life. So, um, more to that, I looked it up and why do children have imaginary friends and should we worry about that? Um, So it's very interesting. It's not a horror thing that I usually try to do, but it's something different, and I'm kind of curious on what, the whole thing is. Is it something that's in the psyche of a child or when we're younger? Or is it something that, could be you know, no, not a psychological, but a more paranormal thing? Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, let's just find out. Maybe something be said about it. But um, so I'm looking at this from the BBC, Tiny Happy People. Uh, so there's you go on there, you look for tips and advice and parenting life, child development, professionals. But I'm no professional. I'm no anything like that. But Uh, I read this, skimmed through it, and it was very intriguing, and um, it might shed some light on certain things. I mean, when I have friends that are parents, and kids have uh, imaginary friends, and the ones that I've seen in the movie were really like outrageous. Especially I'm like, what would be my imaginary friend? And I'm like, if I did, there's a character that's on there that was uh a, a marshmallow on fire. Um, because honestly, when I was a kid, I always like, everybody likes roasting marshmallows, but I like to burn the marshmallows to the like where it's like burnt. I mean, like dark. Just you go away and all that. And next thing you know, like it is encased in charcoal, and but it's still gooey on the inside. So, I like that, and it was like cool, and I think that kind of like generated towards me or something like that. But anyway, but there's like other characters that are so like funny, especially I forgot what the name of the character is, but it's a very dark figure, um, and wears uh a hat and like an overcoat, kind of uh like an investigator or something. But it's always in your face, like I'm here, I'm here. Um, but yeah, overall, love the movie. You know, me, my girlfriend, my niece, my sister, and her husband, and wasn't too sure my niece was gonna be like into it. You know, the cartoonish stuff. You know, yeah, but it got real for a bit there. But so let's get into this. Why do children have imaginary friends, and should we? What's it? Should I worry about? But in any case, because anybody would, you know, should we worry about them as well? Yeah. Um, child psychologist Linda Blair. Now, let me stop you there because it's not the Linda Blair, and I thought that too. And then I looked it up. So Linda Blair, it's not the actress. I thought maybe that's what it was, but Linda Blair is a chartered clinical psychologist, a chartered scientist, an associate fellow of the British Psychological Society, and a practitioner psychologist registered with the Health and Care Professions Council. She has completed a PhD in creative writing, in which she explores stories that as the link between fiction and therapy. Linda is great demand to give talks and workshops, schools, businesses, and various festivals. She's also written regular advice columns for a number of national publications, including The Guardian, Times, uh, Daily Mail, actually, and Psychology's magazine. She has written books in various aspects of parenting and stress management, which we all do need that sometimes, or some people all the time. Linda broadcasts frequently on radio and has appeared in numerous television programs, including Child of Our. So it is not the actor. Uh, and and also if you're looking at this face, why my eyes look like I basically just woke up like maybe not even about 45 minutes ago. Didn't have any coffee because I don't have coffee. I have to go and get after this. Yeah. Anyway, so child psychologist Linda Blair writes writes about imaginary friends. Ooh, excuse me. Um, why some children have them, and what to do if we're worried about them. Have you ever settled on the sofa next to a child only to be told to you need to move over to make room for Super Tom, and he will be flying in through the window to join you soon. No, okay. Um, never had a Super Tom. Hmm. Or have you ever found sweet wrappers on the kitchen floor, and when you called your child to pick them up, and you told them that, oh, naughty Teddy, who dropped them. Yeah. Supernatural did something like with the imaginary friends, and then they came alive. Like that huge teddy bear that had the addiction to porn magazines and love alcohol. Uh, yeah. But then it was like I think it was a wish that was a wishing well, and then you made a wish and it comes true. So you get made a wish like, oh, I want some kind of like cheesesteak sandwich or whatever with like jalapenos, and then you're like eating it. But then there's always a downside. But this is not part of this, but Supernatural does bring out certain things. Um, the article is all about imaginary friends. I'll explain why I had. See now, I'm gonna read it to you. I'm not really trying to explain it, but I'll explain why some children have them and they're most likely to do so. What purposes do they serve for children? They also just, I'll, it also suggests helpful ways to react to this new member of the family and what you can do if you're worried they seem to having too much influence over the house, which is true because the kid has this thing where, like, oh, something breaks, like, I didn't do it. Ted did it. It's somebody to blame. But yeah. What are imaginary friends? That's the question I've been asking. So, imaginary friends are characters a child invents, which they as a treat if they're real and present. Most often, they're based on real people the child knows of or heard of, but can also be modeled on fictional characters such as superheroes or favorite cartoon characters. Sometimes they take the form of a fairy or animal. Um, there's a lot of like in the movie there was a lot of different characters. There was like this big, huge purple, looked like Grimace from Sesame Street. Um, and that one was more like I think a mouse, but it kind of had that Betty Boop uh feel to it. And then you have other ones where there's a bubble that just like gets excited and you know and um but then you had like a flower guy walking around, and there was like this animated looking wooden doll that walks around and paints pictures. And there's a couple of cool little characters in there. They got like uh a ghost wearing a crown. There's a banana that just walks around, doesn't have any pants on, and you know. But it stars Ryan Reynolds. Has the voices of Steve Carell, Steve Buscemi, a slew of other celebrity actors. Um, and like I said, great movie. I loved it. I had fun, laughed, and yeah, almost teared up a couple times. But uh, back to the imaginary friends. They can be invisible, or sometimes a child's blanket or favorite stuffed toy can become an imaginary friend. They most often seen as a protector, role model, or companion, although occasionally they are thoroughly naughty and disruptive, doing whatever the child's parents consider to be a bad behavior. Um, yeah, like I said, something falls or they set fire to the couch or something. It's like, well, Jerome did it. Jerome was like this, little teddy bear. Yeah, that just sat there like this, going, I ain't doing nothing. You Um, when do imaginary friends appear? Do all children have imaginary friends? See, that's the question. I don't think I ever had one. I don't think. Imaginary friends are most often reported by children aged 3 to 6, and most of them disappear by around 8. Um, However, they may remain part of a child's life for a considerable time. It's not unusual for a 12-year-old to report their imaginary friend is still around. Imaginary characters are reported more often by girls, but the difference across genders is small. And one study, and that's my dog barking, shut the fuck up. Ugh, like the neighborhood. One study found that the firstborns and only children are mostly, well, only like the firstborns or only child, uh, or most likely to have an imaginary friend. In any case, imaginary friends are normal features of childhood. Research suggests that 45 to 65% of children will enjoy their company at some point. Um, now you're wondering, is there a good imaginary friend or is there a bad imaginary friend? I guess it all depends on the kid's perspective of that imaginary friend. Yeah. Well, actually, what? I think I do might have an imaginary friend. Right now, I mean, I always talk to Frank. You can't really see him. He's over in the corner, but, he's leaning in. And that's his hand. So, but for people that are listening, I just grabbed a hand of a Frankenstein monster mannequin that I have. Um, so Yeah, I do talk to him. Quite frankly, right. Okay, so I have issues myself. I think it was once thought an imaginary friend was a sign that a child may have or would have mental health problems. That's what everybody says about me. No. However, there is no convincing evidence for this. Children who have imaginary friends are usually sociable, imaginative, uh, interested in other people, and good at seeing life from other points of view, although many children without them also show those qualities. So there is people or kids that are very sociable. They can go up to anybody, and an imaginary friend could help you out in that aspect. Because you could be shy and you get the imaginary friend, but then you can go and hang out with other kids, and then just do your your thing and all that. Yeah, and being imaginative, and also being very imagine like the qualities of the imaginary friend. Interested in other people, so that makes your imagination runs wild. You have this imaginary friend, and then you hang out with the imaginary friend. It makes you feel that you can go up to anybody, and um, I feel like I need somebody to lay on a couch, and then so what? Tell me you're put up. Anyway, um, yeah. So I do have the beard for it. So um, anyway, let's get back to the story here. It would no doubt come as a relief that the child has one to know that children with imaginary friends tend to have the same number of real friends as those without. There we go. This is reassuring because it means that your child invents a friend. It's almost certainly not because they're feeling lonely, nor are there any noticeable differences between the two groups in terms of intelligence or personality. It's almost never a bad sign if your child has an imaginary friend, and in many cases, in a good thing. It's a good thing. Yeah, honestly, if you had like an imaginary friend that kind of looked like, I don't know, Beetlejuice for some reason, um, which honestly, you like, now, I'm going to take it back a little bit. We're going to stop for a little bit. If you go to, because Beetlejuice is coming out in September. Beetlejuice. That's two. Um, More than likely, there's going to be a third because if anybody knows about Beetlejuice movies, you say his name 3 times, he appears. So he had a movie once, he had a movie twice. Now there's going to be a third one. That'd be great if they do it for next year. Instead of like another 10 fucking years. Because Michael Keane, I don't think is going to be alive to do it, but there is CGI or AI that can probably do wonders. So who knows? But if you have an imaginary friend, and it's Beetlejuice, you could have. Well, no, the point I was getting to with the Beetlejuice is that when you watch the cartoons, he's more of a good guy. So him and Lydia, uh, they do good stuff together. As in the movies in the beginning, he was more rambunctious, out of control, not controlled right, and did what he wanted to do. Didn't like rules. Now the second one, I don't know what the second entails, but um, we will see. Now, because I'm going to be watching that week. That and what's the other fucking movie? Deadpool and Wolverine. Yes, yeah, definitely, because it's gonna be a star-studded cast on that one. And but I got my evaluate those. I got my my different ideas on that one because there's like some stuff in there. I'm like, why is this person here? Why do they have to? I'm like, why is this from? You know, but we're not going to get into that. How can having an imaginary friend help the child or your child? The easiest way to think of your child's imaginary friend is that it offers them training in working out the best way to sort out differences, improve their relationships, and find ways to overcome new challenges. Oh, God. All right. Anybody that does a podcast, don't have eggs and sausage before you do a podcast because you tend to have gas. And luckily, mine comes out this way from the mouth and not the other way. Or if I have plants in here, they all die. Ugh. Well, anyway, here are some examples. Not there's no examples of the butt farting. No, the examples of the differences, improve the relationships, and overcome the challenges. Those are the differences. Suppose you have just had a baby and your toddler can't understand why they're lost so much of your attention. Invent an imaginary friend can provide a stand-in playmate while the sibling is too young or help them to understand how the baby may need attention. It kind of helps out. So I think the child that thinks all of this has a mind that is very uh, precise. Because because everybody thinks like, oh my God, there's something wrong with the child. Oh, we got to go and put her in some kind of institution and all that. And, no, 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 no. Yeah, no, that's my English, psychologist, and sure, that's what we do. Ha ha. We're gonna do that and put electrodes on her forehead or his forehead, and shock the shell out of him. No, anyway, no, but don't put no electrodes on kids, please. Don't. Don't say I said it. I'm making a joke. Should I ever worry about my child's imaginary friend? If so, what can I do? Um, oh, wait, I'm sorry. I missed one little section. For another example. Perhaps great granny has died. Oh, this is getting deep. Talking to their imaginary friend about how much they miss her can ease the child's pain, especially if they comfort them. That's like a two-way street, I think. I don't know. Anybody that's a psychologist, if you are listening to this, um, put in the comments, what you think. Um, because I think it's a two-way street. Because if your granny dies and then you have to, uh, you because you're sad, but then you're angry. That your favorite granny passed away. Um, and you're in pain, but then all of a sudden the imaginary friend can be like, it's okay. But then all of a sudden we're like, oh, you have to destroy everything. You know. Now, now the dwarf from uh, oh, what the hell is that fucking movie? The Twin Towers. Um, but anyway, that dwarf and all that is like, oh, you have to kill everybody. No, you don't kill everybody. No, you destroy. No, you don't do that. I know I'm going out of the way, folks. I'm sorry. Should I ever worry about my child's imaginary friend? And if so, what can I do? Okay. It's usually best to play along with the child. Your child knows their friend is imaginary, but sometimes they'll love it if you keep up the presence. Um, However, there may be some circumstances to look out for. First, and for far the rarest, is when your child insists their imaginary friend is real and refuses to ever be parted from them, even if their friend frightens them. See, Hey, it's like one of those, like, you know, I don't know, Turkish, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a different name. I'm looking around. So I Turk 182, and I'm like, Turkish. Uh, uh, if this is the case, it may be best to talk to your doctor or health visitor. Health visitor? I don't know. This is really incredible rare, and if this problem, you would also likely notice other signs of concern, such as withdrawal from social situations and a loss of interest in favorite activities. Serial killer. Hmm. Yep, that's what they usually call them. Uh, Now if he's in a padded cell, um, talking to unicorns that float around. I don't know. Those it was a TV show with the guy from Law and Order. Um, I kind of forgot what the name of the movie is, but I love the movie. I mean, that movie, TV series it was. He was a cop, and he got kicked off the force. But then he has like this imaginary, because he's been drinking, does drugs and everything else. But he had like this imaginary friend, which is like a talking um, unicorn. And just he had this imaginary friend when he was a kid, and then it just shows up, when he's like 40 years old, and he's talking about, well, what are you talking about? Yeah, and everybody thinks he's crazy. That's another reason why we call. I think they don't have imaginary friends when you're older, because if you do, they're gonna think you're crazy. Um, but when you watch the movie, it kind of like situates itself on there. But anyway, much more in common of the following three situations. If the imaginary friends demands become excessive and inappropriate, you may want to draw the line just as you would if they weren't involved. You should never feel like a child that you have to stand up while. Hold on, wait a minute. You should never feel you have to stand up while Super Tom sprawls in space, or allows your child to insist that naughty Teddy leaves their real life sibling without a seat at the dinner table. Hmm. Secondly, look out for the child blames their imaginary friend for things them themselves did wrong, even though they insist naughty Teddy dropped the biscuit wrappers on the floor. Biscuit wrappers? What do you have with biscuits and wrappers? Even though they insist on the floor, because their imaginary friend, your child, is still responsible for their behavior. See, like I said, you go and break a plate. I didn't do it. This guy did. Finally, if your child seems otherwise their normal self, but is anxious about a specific situation, say going to a nursery, and tries to avoid by insisting they stay with their imaginary friend, you may need to check out what's going on beneath this behavior. Talk to the key person at the nursery so you can work together to remedy the situation. Although there can be occasions where imaginary friends present a problem, most of the time they're a great way for your child to exercise their imagination and explore different ways of behaving socially. Um, so, yeah, that's in a nutshell. It's gives you a short, somewhat aspect. Like there is good imaginary friends, there's bad imaginary friends, and it all kind of dictates on what your personality is. Me and my personality is fucking great. I don't know. What do you guys think? But leave the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. Like, subscribe. Leave a comment on what you want to hear, what you want to see. Um, I wish I had celebrity guests to say, "Hey, I got a celebrity guest." Bing. But no, not yet. I don't know. See what happens. Um, yeah, leave a question. Like, or questions, or suggestions. Like what should I look up and talk about and find out about. Um, Sexual stuff, maybe, yeah, give or take. Uh, no political, no religion. Um, that's the only two things I want to, like Beetlejuice says, I won't do it. I just won't. I won't do it. So, but if you're listening to this, I don't know what the whole process is of for the listening part. You just when you listen to it like on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts at. Um, I said whenever you get your podcasts at, go there, listen, like, I guess share, um, and donate. I guess if you want to donate money, or I need to do a PO box because I see many of my friends we call it PO boxes, and it's great to put your real address out there if you're trying to send stuff, or if they're trying to send you stuff. Um, so when I do get a PO box, I will put it in the comments. I don't know when. I gotta figure it out. And what is a virtual PO box? That's another thing. I don't. I'm reading about it. I'm like, is it real? I should go to like a place and find out what a virtual PO box is. But uh, what is going on? Later on, I found out that it's gonna be Donut Day, June 7th, on a Friday. Yeah, you know what this guy's gonna do? He's gonna have some donuts, but yeah, I look like a freaking hyped up Cheshire cat. Like, yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, folks, if you're just listening to this, that my face contorted just a little bit, like a Jack Nicholson with fur, like yeah, yeah. Well, anyway, that wasn't a Jack Nicholson, but folks, if you want to go and follow me, or just want to see what my fucking antics go to Linktree, linktr.ee, or just put down Linktree, and type in my name. Just go Tattoo Squid. That's TA2SQUID podcast, all one word. Or it could be two words. I don't know, but test it out. Test the waters, folks. Test the waters. Um, so check out the Linktree. In the Linktree, there is a merch site. Um, you don't have to. If you want to, check it out. There's a lot of different stuff. You get your shirts, you get your tank tops, you get your sweatshirts, stickers, pins, skateboards, shower curtains. Hmm? 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 I really want to get a shower curtain for our shower, but she does not want to have a shower curtain with my face on it. Or, a squid. Well, yeah, a squid one's fine, but she doesn't want to have it there. So, even if squid has a legitimate, not to get. Uh, that dog is barking at something. I don't know what it is. You probably don't hear it, but yeah. Um, what else? Uh, I think that's it. There's no holiday that's coming up except for July 4th. But that's weeks from now. Um, yes. So, what is your, if you remember your imaginary friend, um, what was the name of the imaginary friend? What did your imaginary friend look like? Some people may say, "Oh, it looks like a dark figure," or there's no specific uh, characteristics of what the imaginary friend looks like. Like I said, I don't think I ever had one. I have a great imagination. Um, I love watching cartoons, and folks, cartoons these days, I don't know. I don't know. My niece is like 10 years old, and she's doing Roblox, and I thought that was like for teenagers or even guys, people like my age. I don't know. But yeah, very interesting stuff. Again, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know, what you should do for a child that does have imaginary friends, or just do what I kind of described or just read from this. Take that to heart, and if you have like a problem there, and also if you do have an issue with your kid that has like a certain tendency or something, seek out a doctor, a psychiatrist, or don't bring them to a mental institution. You know, go steps. Go to a doctor. Don't throw the kid in there because you don't understand. Um, and you just throw them in there to see what's going on. I'm like, so um, that's about it. Hopefully this is an interesting thing for you. Go see the movie. If which, and I did not know, and it dawned on me because we're watching the movie, and I'm like, if, and I'm like, oh, imaginary friends, short for if. I mean, the word if is, oh, and my girlfriend just looked at me and she goes, and you just got that now? I'm like, yeah, I think so. Hmm. But it is what it is. And I do have this thing with my eyes on. Yeah. Um, but like I said, leave a message in the comments what you want to hear, what you want to see. Um, what do you want me to talk about? I'm very intrigued on what you want to put down there. Most likely people don't really put anything down, but hopefully soon. And we'll see what goes on. All right, folks. Oh yeah, and it's that again. Don't have eggs and sausage before you do a podcast. Fucks up your insides almost. Not really fucks up your insides, but you end up burpees. Deep burpees. Um, what was it? Oh yeah. I got the little sniffles, and it's not COVID. It's not whatever. Um, allergies, I think, for pollen out there. So folks, if you have allergies, take care of them. You know, and I mean, if you do have allergies and you know about it, you know what to do. But I would be do. It's Monday, everybody's favorite fucking day. Uh, it's the start of the work week, and it's always the start of hell um, for people that don't want to deal with life. There's times I don't want to deal with life. I just want to. I actually just want to be like an imaginary friend, or just be somewhere where the imaginary friends are at. Just hang out, bullshit. Don't have no care in the world. So, all right, folks, take it easy. Adios. Um, I will see you in the next video or audio, depending on how everything goes. Uh, Father's Day is coming up too. Let me put that. Father's Day is coming up, so have fun with your fathers. Most of us were all lucky to have fathers. Um, but I'll bring that up, next week. I think June 15th, I think, is Father's Day. I think this is how bad it is. Usually my sister would just, text me, it's Father's Day. Get dad something. And I completely forget. I mean, I know my dad's birthday, and I actually know my mom's birthday now. Don't make me say it because then I'll say the wrong thing, and then you're like, oh my God, God. So, and then I have to hear from my sister. It's like, okay, I don't know. Please. But anyway, so, alrighty. Have a good day. I won't keep you. Um, Frank is just giving this look again with imaginary friend. Okay, bye. Would you stop? Frankie, what are you doing over here? You're supposed to be. Ouch. He almost